Welcome back, my name's Callum. Okay, the job today, we're going to try and replace the top mast on what I call Tower 2, which has got a 15-metre Yagi on the top. The reason the 15-metre Yagi isn't right at the top is that the top of the mast is actually bent, and it bent when we had a bit of an accident with the main tower, which is over here, which has got the 20 and 10 on it and a 160-metre prototype vertical. Now, I've just remembered that we have the falling derrick on the main tower. Okay, that's the one that... A falling derrick is the thing that keeps everything stable and allows us to winch the tower over and back. If you haven't seen that, I'll give you a clip. But this is an alloy pole, right? The perfect alloy pole that we've got at the end here. So what we could do, we could replace that with fiberglass. And if you remember, a couple of months ago, I did some tests with a scale, you know, an industrial scale. And when this whole thing is over, the maximum tension on the backstay was 160-ish kilos. And working out how much downward pressure that would be on the falling derrick, I believe, fingers crossed as they say, that a fiberglass pole as the falling derrick will be good enough, because it's only interested in downward pressure. The problem with fiberglass is that once it does start to bow, we'll lose it. We'll have to kind of guess, put it up a bit more, or put it down a bit more, and then sort of make some guesstimation. Now, we can't just swap it out because the back of this falling derrick's got some contraptions on it. As a minimum, we're going to need, well, probably 2 lifting eyes, top and bottom, because the bottom one the winch goes on, and the top one we need to connect the main mast system. And then we need 2 outside guys, and therefore to keep the falling derrick from falling over. As the falling derrick goes up, we don't want it then falling one way or another. So we'll get the fiberglass pole, we'll drill 2 holes, see how we get on, and I've got a couple of lifting eyes with a through bolt, so we're not attaching a lifting eye to like one wall of the falling derrick. We're attaching it from one side right through to the other. Now you might think, why don't we use a steel pole? Because, well, there's a couple of bent ones here. Got a nice steel pole over there as well. But my worry is that might be too heavy. So this is raw yellow. It's how it comes out the factory. I'd prefer it, you know, to be grey or something, but never mind. We can always spray paint it. Let's get the test done first, shall we? Right, so here are lifting eyes. Okay, they're straight through. So we'll put all the guys on one side, and we'll put the winch when it, you know, to come over on the other side. I would have preferred to use these heavier ones because the eyelet is a bit bigger, but it's tough, that's all I've got. In fact, this one is maybe fractionally bigger here, and we can use this one here for the winch, because I think the winch just fits in there. Yeah, okay. That's an 8mm hole, just over 1/4 inch. I think they call it 3/8. And to be honest, I can't be bothered to go inside. That's a 6mm drill bit. So we'll use that. And because it's fiberglass and a bit splintery and stuff, what we'll do is we'll open the hole up gradually with a step drill. You know, I just want a straight through hole. I'm never quite sure how to get, you know, a perfect through hole on a something round like a tube. There we are. I mean, you can measure it, spirit levels, I suppose. I just don't know the trick. Do you know what I mean? A word about Loctite, okay? I mean, I didn't know this, but it doesn't matter that I didn't know it because I found the whole thing rather easy. Blue Loctite requires lack of oxygen and ideally contact with metal for it to work. And I've used it all over the place, and there's inevitably 2 or 3 comments that go, lack of oxygen, you need lack of oxygen. But as it goes onto the thread, there is a lack of oxygen. So I don't actually understand what you're on about on that regard. The other thing is that blue Loctite can attack plastics, but not epoxy fiberglass. Have no fear. Just to know more, we don't need a lot or anything. I've got to be honest with you, the other problem is there's not quite enough threads to hold this on. I just prefer a few more. Right, on the other hand, we don't want to crush the tube. Okay. That'll be all right for the falling derrick, but I'm not happy with 165 kilos on it. What's the worst that can happen? Whoops. Land on my foot, I guess. Well, I could use maybe a couple of chain links between here and here, so if it did fall apart, you know, or a bit of rope or something on a temporary basis. Anyway, let's get the falling derrick drilled holes done. Okay, I think there is enough thread there, you know. Yeah, okay, so we can always... I was just worried about the length. It's kind of about that much different, but there's a steel pole at the beginning of this, which we could always change. I need to rope that to that and then disconnect everything, because we need to keep the mast up. I can't be bothered dropping the blooming mast, laying over the falling derrick just to swap it over. We could do a hot swap, and the wind is actually blowing it in our favour. I'll use this cheap rope. We're better with another shackle. Because this rope will get caught otherwise on this, look. Tension it up. Okay, we're free. I'm hoping. Yeah. Give it a bit of height. We'll take the coupler off. Aha, 1 aluminium scaffold pole, and it appears straight. And there's a hole going right up through it. Good. Right, that is the top of the other mast. Now this one is a tiny bit shorter, and it wants to go that way. Something's fallen over, never mind. Whoops! Just as well I was wearing my safety boots. Alright, let's hot swap it back. You come up. Everything is in the wrong place. Ow! Ow, ow, ow. That'll just fit, I think. Get that rope out of the way. I should have actually measured exactly where that was, because we've got slightly different tension now on the guys. But it doesn't matter, we can fix that in a minute. Now, the falling derrick, thinking about it, is now a lot lighter. So I have to be more careful, because before it was a wee bit heavier, and therefore would keep the mast upright longer. So I'm hot swapping at the moment. There's nothing holding the mast up. Oh God, I hope I got this right. Okay, underneath. I haven't worked out what we're going to do here at the base. So eventually this will need, I don't know, a chain or a bit of turnbuckle or something, I don't know. We will work that one out in time when we move to the Dyneema rope. Do you like my cheap nasty rope? Well, at least there's a few lengths of it. Oh, fine. It was tilting that way slightly anyway. There is a very slight breeze. So you might be able to see it's pointing over to the left slightly. And you can tell that by looking at the guys. The top one is too far over to the left. Possibly easier to see just here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, the real problem is the rope is, the current rope that we're using is quite stretchy, and when it gets hot, it gets stretchy a bit more. What I've noticed, I quite like the rope. It's cheap as bloody chips, but it's just got a bit of twang to it. The wind happens to be blowing this way, which is unusual because it normally comes that way. So I don't really want to reduce the tension too much on that side, because when it starts blowing this way, it will go straight again. So, which way are we pulling it? We're just relaxing it a tiny bit. Oh, blimey, I don't think I want to. That's absolutely fine. I think it's actually a case of tensioning it the other way. Yeah, let's go this way. It's about 1.5 inches. I don't know, 30, 35 millimetres maybe. Oh, blimey, dead straight, look. Literally dead straight. Lovely. Right, next job is, and do I do it today or tomorrow now that we've got this pole? Well, we need to take the lifting eyes off the top anyway. It's got to take down mast 2, that 15 metre, swap the top pole over. And then I've got a plan to unbend the top little contraption we need to make. The only kind of worry I've got is that under its own gravity, all poles bend. So while it is kind of halfway up, I'm hoping that the natural gravity bend of the pole itself will gradually come out. Otherwise, we could end up with a bit of a twangy fiberglass pole in shreds and a mast on the floor. So Wendy and I have been away for a few days, and I thought about this. Honestly, I just think that it's not man enough for the job, and I'm not prepared to go through another disaster. So plan B, I think what we should do, I mean, we can salvage most of this, is we'll do half and half. We'll do a bit of a hybrid model. We'll start off, because I've already got a piece of fiberglass about half the length of one of these, which we can put here. So we'll have half fiberglass, and then we'll cut, because I've got a steel pole that's blocked, that is no use to me, because I like using a tube, you know, going up the middle. And that way we'll still have a little bit of weight, but not too much weight, and less fiberglass, less sag, less chance for it to go wrong. It shouldn't take me too long, but the other thing I've noticed is that wouldn't it be nice to have this pole actually coming right out to here? So eventually when we do put a turnbuckle here, it's just going straight up and connecting. I think that might be quite nice. So it shouldn't take me too long, just swap this over, and maybe we'll do a test drop, eh? Because I've actually got 60 metres of Ethernet cable. Maybe we could put the camera on the top as well. Might have to wait for another day for that, but anyway. To be honest, what I'd really like is a single aluminium pole, but you can't get one 7.36 metres long, you know, so. But I think a bit of steel and a bit of fiberglass, it should be fine, because I'm always trying to salvage what I can. I've got another aluminium pole over there that's about 5.5 metres, not 6, but we might need that for the 270. I went on rain radar a little bit ago, and there shouldn't have been, well, there was no rain for about 40-50 miles. Oh, here we go, it's absolutely tipping down. Let me get under the trees. I've got to be honest, it'd be absolutely fantastic to have a little shed, you know, like a 10 by 12 shed in the forest here. It's all money though, you know. There is a bit of blue sky over there. It'll just be a shower. It's raining again. I just want to know where to cut this. That'd be nice there. So I'm just looking at rain radar. It looks like we've got about 20 minutes. It is still raining, but not hard. All right, back to it. I could take the angle grinder down here, but then I've got to get all the cable out. I'll just grab the scaffolding pole and bring it back. Oh, we're going to have to drill the holes as well, aren't we? So this will weigh about 15 kilos, which I think is just about right, to be honest. I don't know why I went down the 100% fiberglass route, but you do things, don't you? I'm glad I didn't lower the bloody tower now, because it could have bowed and broken. But it won't with a short fiberglass stubby at the end. I've got to drill some holes and get some lifting eyes. I could go in and get a file, couldn't I? But just see if I can get this working, because I thought that was a good idea. I've cut one of them a bit long, not that it matters. Take that one out. I've done this before, but it's just a bit of a hassle. Many years ago. Oh, I got lucky on that one. Put the spanner in there. Oh, got lucky there too. Wind's picked up a bit. Top of the mast blowing around. And it's raining again. Right, I'm going to put this that way. Oh hell, this is a bit of a close shave. Oh, that's okay. Talk about close. Right. I mean, this is the UK weather. Blue sky, then it rains, and so on and so forth. Let's get that roughly about the right height. Okay, so that will no longer fit in there, look. So we will need to make a few adjustments. So we'll connect this to start the ball rolling. So all I'm going to do is transfer the load from the anchor point directly to here. So we can undo this. I really need a bloody tripod or something. All right, slightly precarious, but we've got the weight now of this holding up the mast, so as long as the wind doesn't blow too much, we should be good. It's slightly more complicated than what I thought.
So the mast is quite bowed at the moment, the bottom two are not connected really.
I don't know how much of this I'm going to leave in, but it's just been a bit of a hassle swapping it all over, but we seem to be fairly straight, you know, up to the top. I say fairly. Yeah, fairly. Oh, I've got to be honest, I'm preferring this slightly heavier weight. Not too heavy, you know, it's getting on for probably 20 kilos. Multiply that by roughly 2.5, you'll get pounds. You know what, ham radio is such a niche hobby. Well, I'll start again. On YouTube, ham radio is extremely niche. I mean, very niche. The amount of effort that all the YouTube creators put in, if we did fishing, DIY, building sheds, even bloody manhole cover collecting, right? Oh look, a new AT&T style 14B from 1972. We'd do better, right? Even blooming train spotting would do better. So because it is such a niche hobby, I want you to encourage me, because I inspire you by doing all this stuff, right? You can inspire me. So if this is the third or fourth video you've watched of mine, if you're not subscribed, it doesn't half blooming help, you know, hitting the subscribe button. It doesn't, I don't make money off it, and you don't lose anything. It's like calling it a bookmark. Bookmark the channel, because that tells YouTube that people with similar profiles to you will also like watching my stuff. So although it's a tiny niche, I still need to grow it a little bit if we can. My watch time is fairly good, and apparently that's the main thing. But you know, on average, most of us, certainly the UK creators, on a good video will get 3, 4, 5,000 views, and that's it. It dies 2 weeks later, no one's interested in it. So just hitting that sub button, or leaving a nice comment, or hitting the like button, or whatever you want to do, it just really helped me out, okay? Right, let me tell you what we're doing next. So we've got the 15-metre Yagi. We built that the other day. That needs to come down. We need to swap this pole that we've just changed over, all right, for the top. Then we can get 15 metres right on the top. At the moment, there's no wire elements on it at all. So we'll take the whole thing off, put the wire elements on it, we'll cut everything to size, change over the tube, you know, the aluminium scaffold tube, and then hopefully that will be us on 50 metres. That is probably the next video. Now, we have used 20 and 10 recently, the SY3 10-metre Yagi. We used that the other day. In fact, we got a hold of, there was a guy in Italy, we got on 10 metres. He was so pleased to get me. And I told him, I'm using an Italian antenna here. That's the only antenna I haven't built. Mike gave it to me. And we need to test out mast 1 as well, make sure the falling derrick doesn't collapse midway. So enjoy your radio, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye for now. We've just got enough for a third tower, a third mast for 2 and 70. Watch this space, eh?